Having created the base shape that we're going to be using to ultimately create our helmet's viewing port, what we need to do in this exercise is get it into position so that it is ready for us to use. In our perspective view then, let's swing around and select our stencil. You can see that we already have the metal guards in place here from my previous modelling tests, and so let's roughly match our shape to their orientation here by pressing the E key to engage our rotate tool, and then rotating by 35 degrees. Now, depending on which viewport you wish to do this, the axis may change, which, as you can see, nicely lines up our shape with the angle of the guard mesh. Let's then engage the Move tool, set our coordinate system to local, and then center our shape up. If we press F4 to show edged faces, we can see roughly where this is going to line up to on our base mesh. In fact, let's move this down so that it is sitting more or less on the surface of our helmet mesh, which just helps us more clearly see whereabouts our cuts are going to need to be made. We do want to make sure that the shape is properly centered on the helmet, and so let's press Alt-A to engage the Align tool, and then click on the helmet so as to set it as our Align to target. We want to turn off all of the position options here except for X, which, as you can see, shunts us over ever so slightly. And then, of course, because we have already set up our orientation, we want to make certain that all of the Align orientation boxes are turned off as well, after which we can click OK. And if we take a look around now, we can see that we are perfectly centered on our mesh. Now, if we are happy working with just the spline shape that we have here, then that is fine. Although looking in the viewport, our shape does appear to blend into the wireframe of the helmet. And so sometimes we may want to use a more visible representation of the shape in the viewport. If we go ahead though and add a Edit Poly modifier to our spline, which, as you can see, fills the interior of the shape with a polygon, we have something that just makes it a little bit easier to see in the viewport, and so perhaps to work with. What we have now is our stencil in position and ready to be used as a guide for adding some cuts to our helmet, which is exactly what we're going to do in our next video.